Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell. Of course, I am your host, KG, and with me is my sidekick, my co host, wrestling enthusiast, Mark. What's going on, man? So, we are doing the recap of SmackDown, and I had lots of downs of SmackDown last night. The first hour, I found it a little boring. The beginning of the second hour, it picked up some, but it seemed to go a little downwards after that. So,
I well, we'll get into it later, I think, but I wasn't really overly impressed. So
no, no.
anyway,
The
with, oh, go ahead.
Mm-mm.
Oh, we start.
Go ahead.
What's coming up? Who's who and what? Um, and then we go Rey Mysterio to the ring, talking about former glory, what he plans on doing. Irish going to win the Royal Rumble. You know, but he says it's going to be tough this year with so and so, so and so, and so and so. I'm like, what's the difference of 20 years ago? You had top talent then too, but whatever. Give your props to the current roster. That's fine. KO comes to ring. Roundabout Way challenges Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. You know, uh, Rey says, "Well, you're not the champ, but if you're the champ, yeah, I'll take the challenge." So it ends up being that KO attack Ray. Cody comes out, immediately starts. They all get separated or whatnot. I have to give props to Kevin Owens' shirt though.
I love sure, but so I know that they from the start of SmackDown, Ray came out and then Kale came out, but the match wasn't the very first match. It was like what, third or fourth match?
Oh, it's later than that.
Okay, just because you kind of went into the introduction and then into the match because KO didn't attack Ray until after the match, and
Oh, you're right.
that's
You're
when
right.
Cody ran in. But since you brought it up, we can go out of order just for this one match. I thought the match was okay. I didn't like the finish though. It just almost seemed like a very quick um like it went from them being dead heat into this, the dead heat of the match and a lot of action going to just the finish and something else. It seemed like Rey Mysterio was off 42 steps in my opinion. It just could be me now. That's just the way it seemed though. It could be maybe he's um getting, because of the age that he's at and he's still wrestling. I don't know. It definitely, this definitely wasn't his best match.
No, but I think you can't expect these guys to come out, every night, especially doing house shows, and give that 100%. These guys are worn out, tired. You know, 50% of them are probably injured or have nagging injuries. You know, to me, I don't know how Jeff Hardy still walks. To be honest.
Yeah, but I tell you though, you're bringing up how, these guys can expect them to be 100% of the time, but this is the problem. This is where AEW is beating WWE when it comes to giving their wrestlers rest and not demanding as much as WWE is with the talent. But after saying that, when you sign a contract with WWE, you definitely know what you're getting into as well. But yeah, that is just kind of, the little bit negative. But yeah, I mean, you don't feel like that finish just seemed odd.
Yeah, it did. It did. So, all right. So next we go to Naomi and Bianca talking about Jade a little bit. Their upcoming match against Candice and Nia. Uh, then you go to Nick and Ray, uh, announcing Ray versus KO tonight. Cody comes in, gets a clean bill of health. Um, Nick tries to get him to sign a stipulation to his contract or to his match with KO. He's all signed when Kevin signs it. Uh, then me go back to Nia and Candice versus.
So hold on one second. This whole segment with Nick and Cody and KO about the whole signature thing to the addendum that was made to the contract. Not only did I find that dumb, but it really made both, and we'll get to it with KO, but it made Cody look like a crybaby. Someone that was like, no, if they're not gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And it wasn't just Cody. We'll find out that it was KO as well. I think it made them both look weak as fuck, in my opinion. And was the addendum? What was the addendum? The only thing I gathered from that was that the addendum was they would both hand over the titles to be hung above in the air for this ladder match. But if that is the addendum, how fucking stupid this is, because we know it's a ladder match. We know that the titles are going to be hung in the air to begin with. It just, I don't know. I just thought it was stupid. But we'll talk a little bit more once we get to the KO part of it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't understand the addendum, and we already know the titles are going to be hung over because they already told us that. So I think it has something to do with their previous match, the center event. I think that was a reference, you know, and I'm sure it's going to be, if a pile driver's used, automatic loss or something. Damn well someone's going to pile drive somebody just for the sake of argument.
But this is the thing. If that was the case, you would think Cody would sign it, right? Because of this move, the pile driver, the evil pile driver, has been banned for WWE for so long, even though, again, that version of a pile driver was Undertaker's finisher for the longest time up until just recent matches. It's dumb. And if that is part of the addendum, and being that Cody was taken out by it, being that Randy Orton was taken out by it, which, by the way, the fact that this pile driver was done on both Randy and Cody, but Cody was back within a few weeks, and Randy has been taking this long to be out, it makes Randy look weak. I think this is just poorly done with this whole pile driver thing.
I think with Randy, I think they're trying to use him more sporadically so they can extend his career. Randy says he wants to wrestle until he's 50. You're not going to be doing that, doing house shows and live shows. You're not going to be doing it. Sorry.
I get the need to write him off television so that he can do this basically part time to extend his career. But the way they did it is what I'm saying was dumb, and it made Randy look weak as shit because of Cody coming back within 2 weeks. That's what I'm saying. It was poorly done in my opinion. There were so many other ways that you could have got this done without making Randy Orton look weak and not using this whole bullshit power driver thing being banned. The wrestling fans aren't stupid. We know that this move has been used in WWE.
If it was me, I would have broke his arm. I had to come back with a cast like his old man had for years.
And you know what? That would have not been a bad idea.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Put a little history on that sucker. All right. Anyways, next we go to Nia and Candice versus Naomi and Bianca. This was actually a halfway decent match. There's a couple things I looked at. I like the backflip over Nia Jax that Bianca did. But to me, what stuck out in this match is Candice LeRae looked like a junior high student with adult women. Candice LeRae looks like such a midget. And she's a
Yeah.
talent, but she just felt, it's like one of those Sesame Street. One of these things doesn't belong. Candice LeRae does not belong with full grown women. I'm sorry.
Well, here's another problem with Candice LeRae. Look, it's gotten to the point that if you see her in a tag team match with anybody, I don't care who it is, you know that they're not going to take a win. And Candice LeRae, it's her shoulders that's going to be pinned. Um, the last victory I remember her having was over Bailey. Other than that, she is just, I mean, she has become the new Zack Ryder.
Ooh.
More losses than wins.
Yeah.
I mean, she really has. And when I seen that was her and Nia Jax in this tag team match, I'm like, why even bother watching? That's how I felt because we know damn well that if Candice LeRae's in it, she's going to lose.
Yeah, and unfortunately, but you know what? She can smile all the way to the bank when she cashes her check too, and she makes substantially more than I do. So
You say that, and we were saying thing about Zack Ryder, right? But one reason why he was glad he left WWE was because, yes, wrestling is pre-scripted. Don't get me wrong, but to constantly take that L over and over and over again, you were literally ruining their careers.
yeah, no, he's done a lot better in TNA.
Yeah, he now said that he's ready to come back to WWE, but he said he won't take the Zack Ryder's gimmick. But look, I don't care if he's called Zack Ryder. I don't care if he's called Bully Ray number two Junior. I don't care if he's John Cena the fucking third. The fact of the matter is that he's always going to be Zack Ryder in WWE, and he's going to be the guy that's going to be taking the L's. I guarantee you that's exactly how the fuck that they were going to book him, unless he was smart enough to put a stipulation in that contract saying, "Hey, I'm not taking these losses no more." And if he did that, I don't think WWE would resign him. I just don't. I don't think that. Yeah, he did better on the independent scene, but he didn't do as well as say Cody Rhodes or a lot of these other guys that were really elevated on the independent scene. Then went back to WWE. Now, at first, when he was in the independent scene, he was hot, right? But I think that that's passed by. I mean, for the love of God, he just fucking lost two matches against fucking Jericho in Ring of Honor. So to me, that says a lot as well. And real quick, guys, and I always forget to mention this, please subscribe to our channel. I have Josh Turner coming up on Wednesday. I'm going to be releasing that interview. Uh, Josh Tallis, professional wrestler. He's also an actor. He's been on shows like The Walking Dead. Very excited to have him on. But please subscribe to the channel, and I want to welcome the 12 new followers that we have. I really appreciate you following us. We have gone from a failed podcast to just a kind of failed podcast.
We're a step above.
Right. Oh, also one other thing. So there's a guy by the name of Shane who was supposed to be. I've been looking for a third co-host for a while. He was planning on doing it. I was supposed to give him a call back after the holidays. Um, at some point between then and now, he actually decided to go to another podcast, and I'm gonna tell you that I've watched this podcast. It's a good podcast. I don't blame Shane for taking that opportunity because that podcast has been around a while. We're very new. Even their production is really good. Obviously, compared to ours, we just do Skype. So I just wanted to say well wishes to Shane, and I wish you all the success with the podcast that you went with. Great guy. He's the one, without me asking, without charging anything, did our logos. So good luck to Shane.
Yeah, good luck, bud. All right, so next we go to an interview with Bailey, talking about her highs and lows and how she's going to beat Tiffany. Really wasn't it, to be honest. So
You
next we go
know,
backstage,
Red,
kind of Chelsea Piper, BFAB, Meechin, uh, kind of a verbal go around or whatnot, and then all of a sudden, BFAB challenges Piper.
right? So going back to the Bailey thing, and I don't know what's going on with Bailey's career. But with the exception of winning the number one contender to face Tiffy tonight, she's also been taking a lot of losses. For the love of God, like you said, what's her face? Beat her with Nia Jax, Candice LeRae. Yeah, and look, people will say, well, they let her win the one contender to be the first one to face Tiffy. Yeah, because they knew that she was going to take a fucking loss. I mean, It's like, did she piss somebody off behind the scenes? What's going on, Billy? But she went from being up here to being down here type of a thing. And look, Billy is not a bad performer in the ring. You know, she's pretty damn good. Unfortunately, we all knew that Tiffy was not going to drop her title. And Tiffany put on a damn good performance tonight. She really did. And although I'm wondering, what's going on with Bailey's career, at the same time, I'm glad that she was able to keep the title. She's great, and what I like about her character right now, Mark, is she kind of has that one foot as a baby face because the crowd's cheering her, but she also has that foot in that heel side as well because she still do some heelish things. And I like her like this. I hope that they allow her to do this, play kind of that anti-hero type of that type of a character, and not make her go full on babyface. I just don't know how I would feel about her being full babyface. She just doesn't look like the type that would be that full babyface.
I don't know. She was a baby face for a long time. Remember Hugger Bailey. So,
Yeah, but that's what look. Just because the crowd is cheering Tiffy doesn't mean she's a babyface.
oh, you're talking about Tiffany. I thought you were talking about Bailey.
No, I'm talking about
Oh,
Tiffy.
yeah, no, I like Tiffany right where she's at. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah, got the crowd cheering for her, but yeah, she still does heelish things. Yeah, no, I thought you were talking about Bailey.
No,
Uh,
but if since you brought Billy up, I'll be honest with you. Um, I hated the hugging Billy. I hated that character. I like Billy as a baby face. She looked more at ease. She looked like this was more natural for her. At first, people were kind of not knowing how they felt about it, but they started getting into that heel role of Billy, and I'm almost wondering if they're having her starting to lose a good bit because they're going to turn her back into that heel. Time will
like Char-
tell.
Charlotte Flair coming back, that could be.
Yeah.
So, all right. So next we go to Big Jim to the ring, and Camilla Hayes talking smack all the way down. That you're living in their shadows, pretty much. Um, they have their match. It's not a bad match. Camilla Hayes can put on a great match, I think. Um, not a fan of his per se, but I think he's a hell of a talent, to be honest. Eventually, Tamatonga and Fatu, Jacob Fatu interfere. DK, they attack Jimmy. Camilla tries to get in the middle of it. He wants to join in, and he gets a clothesline for his efforts.
Yep. Let's stop right here. I think that, and I'll let you go on to finish talking about the match, but there was a lot of things happened within a span of 3 to 4 minutes, right?
Yep.
One of those things, was that clothesline hard enough to basically clothesline Carmelo's ass to being a baby face? Are we going to see a face turn because of what Jacob Fatu did? That's the first thing that went through my mind.
So the enemy of my enemy is my friend, sort of thing. Could be, could be. I mean, you're seeing that kind of with LA Knight right now, but LA Knight's kind of a face too. So
Yeah, but I think Carmelo Hayes would. You know what I realized? And I think I realized this on SmackDown. A lot of the guys that are professional wrestlers right now, especially in certain promotions or certain shows, SmackDown, some of those shows, you have a lot of guys that could fall more into that anti-hero. They're not a good guy. They're not a bad guy. They're just not trying to put up any bullshit from the corporate bosses to the motherfuckers who thinks they run that show type of a deal, right? And look, I am not saying whatsoever, so do not misunderstand me, that we're about to witness another Attitude Era 2.0. That will never happen. Let me make that clear. Will never happen. But it was those type of characters that led us to the Attitude Era. I don't think these guys are good enough to lead us to have an organic or Attitude Era 2.0. Not at all. We don't have someone that could be near compared to being The Rock or the Stone Cold or the Undertaker, none of those guys, right? But we do have guys that fit that anti-hero type of a character, which to me means more of a reality based type style wrestling, which is what I love. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think we have more pure babyface characters or heel characters, or do you think that we have more of those characters that kind of fit in between, that anti-hero, they're not good or bad type character?
Well, if you go back to like when Dusty Rhodes was big, and if he did a heelish move, they still cheered. All right, regardless, and Dusty would lead you down that road of I'm gonna do this, even though it's a heelish move, I'm gonna do this, and he'd never say it, but he'd show it in the ring. All right, and then when it finally happened, they'd just cheer the shit out of him. I think we're evolving into a different kind of class, so I think this anti-hero is not going to be classified as anti-hero, but it's not going to be classified as a hero or a face. I think it's just the way that we're evolving in the industry.
Right,
Um,
but what you just said, right, is exactly what I'm talking about. And you brought Dusty Rhodes, right? Up until Dusty Rhodes went to WWE, where they gave him that polka dot, that character, right? Um, Dusty Rhodes was both Mid South. He was Florida Championship Wrestling. He was Atlantic Championship Wrestling. All of those territories were all about that reality-based professional wrestling, right? That's why it always kind of makes me chuckle when I hear Vince McMahon or even Eric Bischoff for that matter, really kind of talk about how they're the first ones to bring reality-based TV to wrestling, which led to the Attitude Era and the NWO type shit, right? And they're so wrong because your territories were doing that way before Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon was doing those things. And then, we went from that to WCW going out of business to the Attitude Era going into the what is it called? The aggressive era. What is it?
Ruthless aggression,
Yeah,
I believe.
ruthless aggression era to kind of dipping back almost to at least the late 90s type style that I hated. This is when WWE started really dropping in ratings. But I think now we're evolving back into that reality based wrestling with these wrestlers now evolving to not being the heels or really baby faces. They're just are what they are type of a thing. Now, to make this work, though, you do absolutely have to have your heels that your fans absolutely hate, and we have those people. We have your KOs and your Pretty Deadly, and these other wrestlers. So yeah, I mean, I think that as good as wrestling seems to have been since Triple H took over. I'm sorry for being long-winded here. I just something things I was thinking about. I really think that we haven't even seen how good it's really going to get with these younger talents that's coming up, fitting that reality style based wrestling, in my opinion.
Speaking of which, I think there was a little slight discussion on your page one day, and I'd made reference that someone said, "Well, Vince is out of the picture." No, I think Vince is giving advice and maybe backhouse producing through Triple H. I think you got to be an idiot not to go to Vince and get his opinion. You got to be an idiot.
Vince will,
Oh, you got
yeah,
to get.
I agree. Look, Vince, the only time we will ever see Vince McMahon 100% be out of professional wrestling within WWE is when his time comes and we put him in his grave, right?
Yep.
Well, actually, let me change that. I'm wrong. it's either Triple H can leaves or he gets put in his grave. I think that, because there's rumors flying around that Triple H is going to get fired. I think if that does indeed happen, I don't think it's going to happen. Why the fuck would they do that when ratings are so good? When well, actually, they're not even ratings anymore. It's with the Netflix deal, right? But when they have as many viewers that they have on Netflix now, with the ratings of SmackDown, and with them constantly selling out their weekly shows, why would you fire Triple H? I don't think TKO is that stupid, right? TKO may not have been involved in wrestling until recently, but they've been involved with UFC for 30 years now, so they have to be making the right decisions. So I don't think Triple H is going to get fired like they're predicting. But if he did, I don't think Vince McMahon would have a way to be able to putting in any type of input amongst WWE.
I don't know. You still got Nick Khan. Isn't he still with the WWE?
I think so, but Nick Khan and Vince McMahon didn't have a great relationship from the things I've read.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. And then there's something else I was going to bring up, but I can't remember what. So we'll just move on. So Solo comes to the ring. Well, hold on. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga are still in the ring. Jacob Fatu, or excuse me, Solo comes to the ring.
Nope, nope. LA Knight comes in the ring next.
Oh, right. Yeah, LA Knight comes out. It's a 2-on-1. And then all of a sudden, Braun Strowman comes out and evens the odds.
Tom, let's be different sections here. Like I said, this is the most. I liked LA Knight last night. This was the most aggressive I've seen LA Knight be in a long time when he's fighting these two guys. He look for a moment there. I was like, holy shit! They're going to allow LA Knight to take out the new bloodline, right? I really thought that that was the case. I thought that Fatu and Tamatanga was going to retreat. And for a second there, I really did. I was like, hell yeah. But of course, as you said, the numbers got the best of him. And then Solo comes out. Go ahead.
Yep. So then, no, I thought, well, yeah, Solo comes out, comes to the ring, and then abruptly gets out of the ring and leaves. Now, what surprised me is Jacob Fatu took the mic, and a lot of it was gibberish, but some points rang true. Basically, he doesn't care what you think, and he's just getting started.
So remember, I told you before the Netflix debut and before the Roman Reigns and Solo match that it was rumored that if Solo loses, that he was going to get kicked out of the bloodline. Um, this happened. Now, let's talk kayfabe for a second. I think, they're using this kayfabe that he lost because he lost to Ulufala. Um, and although Jacob Fatu didn't attack him, say we're done with, I think that Solo walking out really, we really witnessed the breakup, for the most part, of the new bloodline with a new tag team forming Tamatanga and Jacob Fatu. Yes, I know they're not new to tag team because they're within the bloodline, but they were part of that faction. Now I think it's just going to be those two. Now, in real life, I think what's happening is the other members of the new bloodline that was legit injured during the war games, I believe they may be off TV for a while, and I think this is why the WWE decided to go this direction instead of just having three members of a bloodline to getting a storyline where Solo kind of walks out of the bloodline because of losing the Ulafala, The question is, are they going to play it that we're going to see Solo going for a while, even missing the Royal Rumble, uh, only to make a comeback possibly at WrestleMania, costing whatever match Roman Reigns is going to be into, costing Roman Reigns that match. That's kind of what my head is telling me. And you know, guys, if you're watching this and saying you're fucking crazy, maybe so. I'm not saying I'm right. There's a lot of shit I get wrong when it comes to the guessing game of professional wrestling, right? That's just what makes sense to me.
I think a name like Solo, you're pretty much geared to be a solo performer, not in a group. You know, I think they're gonna have him go off on his own for a little bit, build himself back up a little bit. Because to me, lately he's just been a jobber anyhow. Um, but I don't know. I don't think he's gonna miss the Royal Rumble, but I think right now, well, we'll see. We'll see. Um, he's still in the top 30 names of people they want to draw from. So, um, that's not including who they're going to surprise us with, yesteryear. So,
Right, but this is the thing, Mark, and again, I'm not talking about kayfabe here. I'm talking about real life. Solo has been, regardless of what you think of Solo, right? Solo has been going hard, nonstop for the past, not just this year. Well, obviously we're at the very beginning of 2025, but he's been going hard for the past, two, 2020, 23 and 24, maybe even 22, without really missing wrestling. At some point, as you said, these guys need breaks and time with their family. So I think that, what's really happening is also he's getting rid off of TV for him to take a long vacation since he's been going so hard for the past few years. And with the Royal Rumble being right around the corner, I think he's still going to be going during that time because just because someone's in a Royal Rumble doesn't mean that they won't be at WrestleMania in some form of the sense, even if it's just him running in and costing Roman Reigns a match, right? But yeah, I think that's possibly what's going on as well.
could be. So, either way, it was nice to see Braun and Jacob Fatu.
Oh,
No, it was nice to see Jacob Fatu pick up a mic. Um, it was really nice. He got better skills than I thought he would.
yeah. Now I tell you, let's talk about um the run in by Strowman. Braun Strowman. Now we know that he's been sick. He had a very bad case of the flu. He dropped 39 pounds. Um, and he didn't look horrible last night, but he lost a lot of toning while he was sick, dropping that weight. I noticed last night for the first time ever, um, Braun Strowman, even though he didn't have a belly, he had really loose skin by his tights. You kind of seen it jiggling some, right? That's how bad sick he was, where he lost some of that muscle tone. And also when he picked up Tamatanga, when you seen him kind of toss him, it wasn't a usual or normal Braun Strowman toss. It was kind of just a little toss. I think, I'm glad to see him back and being healthy, and I'm sure he's going to build himself back up to what it was. But he wasn't lying when he said that he was definitely ill when he couldn't get into the gym or anything. So it's really good to see him back. Secondly, the only time I've ever heard a pop when it came to another professional wrestler and Fatu facing one another was when Steiner, Braun Breaker, and Fatu came face to face, and people lost their shit. And I think those are the two dream matches that fans want to see, which is Strowman and Fatu and Breaker and Fatu. Here's my question for you, Mark. At Saturday night's main event, do you think that we are going to see Jacob Fatu finally have his shoulders pinned?
No, I think there is going to be a DQ of some sort.
I agree with you as far as not having his shoulders pinned. I don't think it's gonna be DQ. I think that they're going to have Fatu pin Strowman because this is really if he pins Strowman, this is really going to
Solidify.
was that
Solidify.
yes, yep, it's going to solidify Fatu with the type of monster that he is. Because I tell you, look, think about Braun Strowman and Big Braun Reed facing one another. Man, there's too many Brauns. But think about those two facing one another, right? Yeah, they got somewhat of a pop, but not anything even close to what we got last night, including myself. I was okay with seeing Reed and Strowman in a match, but seeing, Braun Strowman and Fatu in a match, that's something I was like, fuck yeah, I want to see. Even more so, something I'm even more excited to hopefully see is actually Breaker against Fatu. I think that's going to be a much better match. I'm expecting Saturday night to basically it be kind of a brawl versus Breaker, more of a technical match with Breaker.
Actually, when I saw the match between Braun and Fatu, more excited about this upcoming Saturday main event than I was about the last one.
Yeah, I'm more excited about that match than I am Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. I think that Braun Strowman and Fatu should be the main event, and let Cody Rhodes and Kiyogo be the opening match.
I won't argue with you.
Because let's not forget, it's not like back in the day when the opening match was, your matches that way they expected to suck. The opening match is now just as important in today's professional wrestling as it is the main event now.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
And believe it or not, AEW is the one that started that.
I don't know.
WWE wasn't doing that until AEW.
I don't know about that because they did a show in Saudi Arabia and Brock and Roman were the first match, and then Brock was out
That
of time.
that was a PLE though.
All right, I'll give you that. All right. So, anyways, let's get back to the brass tacks here. So we go to Legado del Fantasma, giving a pep talk to La Garza about their win last week, explaining that they aren't tag team champs yet, so don't get too excited. Uh,
So let me stop for a second. Let me ask you this, Mark. Are these guys a babyface? Or are they still a heel team? Because even the way they were spoken to last night was much different than normal. And although they were facing obviously a babyface team, which would be the Motor Machine Guns, um, it was Pretty Deadly, who's definitely a heel, cost them the match. So what do we have going on here, you think?
you know, these guys are sorely underrated. These guys, I'd match them with any team of that size back in the 80s and 90s. Rockland Express, Midnight Express, the Rockers, the Fantastics, you name it. La Garza is just as good as any of these guys, any of these teams, and I like them. And I didn't like how they got together per se, but I like them now as a team. They're relatives, I think they're cousins. Um, I think these guys really should get a bigger push than what they are getting. These guys are, and to be honest, they look great against Motor City Machine Guns last night. They looked awesome, and
Yeah,
that was
and
a match I've seen out of any wrestling federation in a while. And
yeah,
I don't. That was a damn good match.
yeah, I agree with you. And going to picture for a second, right? And you and I both said this, and a lot of people said this, that when at first you're like, unfortunately, we see Penta being put into the LWO, right? And I was on a podcast. Yes, I was cheating on you again on on Monday night after Penta's debut, and I didn't mention this, and I meant to. A young lady by the name of Angel, which you may be seeing her on this show, possibly, but she and professional wrestling, she is just has the mind for professional wrestling. But anyway, she had brought up that she really wouldn't mind seeing Penta with the LWO, that she thinks that it wouldn't be a bad thing because she said that she believed that Penta could actually elevate the LWO and actually make them into a big deal, which it needs to happen some way, somehow, because these guys are also good with the LWO. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that it would elevate them, or do you think LWO would actually hold Penta down?
A little of both. It would definitely elevate LWO. I don't think it'd do anything for Penta's career per se, but it'd do a world of wonder for LWO. Um, they're just a pale comparison of what they were originally. And I'm not talking about 6 months ago. I'm talking about 20 years ago. Um, but I don't think it'd help Penta's career at all. And I don't think Penta will do it because it would step on Rey Mysterio's toes. And like it or not, I think a lot of these guys, Penta, his brother, Dragon Lee, you name it. These guys really look up to Ray because Ray really opened the doors for these guys. Ray and Eddie and Psychosis and a lot of these other guys, La Parca. These guys really opened the door for these guys to get a decent paycheck and make a decent living beyond Tijuana, beyond going to Japan. You know, they open the doors for these guys. So I don't think it's going to happen just because Penta would push or overshadow Ray. You know,
But this is the thing, though. I honestly believe that Ray would welcome this to happen because let's not forget, Ray is already a Hall of Famer, and it's only a matter of time before he retires and steps down. And this would allow him to be able to step down feeling good about the LWO, still continuing with possibly Penta as that leader. So I agree with what you're saying as far as Penta thinking that it would be stepping on Ray's toes, but I think Ray may welcome that.
yeah, I was just gonna say, it'd give Ray a time to back out and bow out gracefully, or if Ray stepped away and left it in Penta's hands, yeah, then I could see it. But if you're gonna have Ray and Penta in there, I don't see Penta stepping in.
Yeah. Now, Dirty Dom has come out and said that he wants a match with Penta. Do you think this would be a good match?
I think Penta could carry a broomstick. So, and Dom has improved greatly, you know, and I think just Dom's ability to cut a promo would warrant a desire to see this match. Okay. Do I think the match would be a 5 star? No, but I think it'd be a solid 4.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like you said, Dom has definitely improved, and with Penta kind of carrying him, yeah, this could end up being a match that turns out to be one damn good match, in my opinion.
Well, like I said, I don't think it'd be a 5 star, but I definitely
Right.
think it'd be. And
Yep.
I don't had too many 4 stars to begin with, so
Yep. I agree.
definitely wouldn't hurt Dom's career, and I don't think it would hurt Penta's career, to be honest.
No.
So, and to be honest, I could see Dom at one point in time, if they don't discontinue it, uh, joining the LWO again, or
Yeah,
joining, you know, might not be for 2, 3 years or whatever the case may be, but I can see Dom stepping into that role too.
I agree.
All right, so then we go to Machine Guns versus La Garza. Great match, like I said, great match. You can't say anything negative about it, to be honest. There were a couple innovative moves, at least one I saw, with Garza holding one Motor City machine gun and the other one on top of his shoulders, and his cousin jumping off the second middle rope and doing a kick to the top one on the shoulders and then dropping them both. I don't think I've ever seen that, to be honest. Uh, Again, great match. Best match I've seen in a long time, to be honest. Definitely the best tag match I've seen in a long time. There might have been a couple single matches that run good with it, but I don't know.
Now let me
Uh,
ask you a question though. Do you think it was really good because both teams are just that damn good, or do you think that Motor City Machine Guns were kind of carrying them in the match?
no, I think both teams are that damn good. But you know what? I really want to dog the Motor City Machine Guns because they're in the twilight of their careers and maybe even a hair past their careers. But damn it, these guys haven't lost a step. They have, and the speed that these guys generate for being late 30s, early 40s, or whatever, or even mid 40s. I don't know. Uh, these guys are just they surprise me every match. I'm like, Jesus Christ, where do you guys get the energy? And it's not like they're doing 5 minute matches; they're doing 10, 15 minutes. You know, and we all know just running 2 minutes of the rope will kill you.
Yeah.
You know. All right, so next we go to Nick Aldis trying to get KO to sign the amendum or stipulation. Uh, KO pretty much said, "Oh, I'm not signing until Cody signs it." Yeah, blah blah. We've touched on this. Um,
I think it's horrible.
yeah, yeah, it is. But like,
Um, and and let's not. So this is the thing. They wouldn't sign it for Nick Aldis, right? They're both being big babies about it. I'm not signing until he's signing. Nah, 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 boo, boo, right? But then it was announced, of course, that Shawn Michaels at Saturday Night Main Event was going to meet them in the ring, and then they would both have to sign it, and Shawn Michaels would have to would make sure this happened. And I'm thinking to myself, if they won't sign it for you, Nick Aldis, why would they sign it for a old, nonetheless legend who is injured with a really bad back that both KO and Cody could take, no matter how much of a legend he is? Cody Rhodes and KO could absolutely kick Shawn Michaels' ass.
Shawn Michaels still have a bad back.
Oh man, his body is just fell. Just it's. I mean, did you not see when they tried to put him in the ring with Triple H for that one-time reunion a few years ago?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I think
saw
it was at Saudi Arabia. It was fucking terrible.
it. I don't know. I'm still expecting someone to get a super kick on Saturday Night Main Event. You know.
But yeah, you're right. But I'm just saying that it doesn't make sense to me why. Oh, well, Shawn Michaels making it. It's like there's so many other legends that's still healthy enough that still looks intimidating that it would make more sense instead of using Shawn Michaels. And the whole thing is again, it's dumb to begin with. They've already signed the contract, right? And then now all of a sudden there's this addendum that no one wants to sign for some reason that we can only speculate what it is, but we don't know, which really makes it worse because if at least they would have announced it, it was like, oh, holy shit, yeah, if they don't sign it, shit's gonna happen. But
Well, here's my slight take on it. One, Shawn Michaels is a legend. All right, and a lot of these guys are really taught still to this day. I think that you respect your the ones that came before you. You know, and while Nick is a legend in his own right mind, he's not Shawn Michaels. Okay. The other thing is Shawn Michaels is an executive, and so is Nick. But you're going to get fined more for kicking Nick, or you're going to get fined more for kicking Shawn. You're going to get fined more for kicking Shawn.
right, but what you just said about these guys are taught to respect their legends. We're talking about Kevin Owens. Do you think KO
Yeah,
cares?
good point. Good point. I think on camera he doesn't care. I think in real
Right.
life, he got nothing but respect for the guys that came before him.
Well,
Yeah,
obviously, yes, and I'm talking kayfabe right now.
I,
It's what I'm saying. Kayfabe world, a Cody and a Kevin Owens could beat the shit out of Shawn Michaels. Well, actually, probably real life too, but
yeah,
kayfabe, right? So to me, in kayfabe world, Nick Aldis would be the one that'd be more intimidating than what Shawn Michaels is, and that's why it doesn't make sense to me because there's other guys that they could have gotten who are legends currently that is more intimidating
yeah.
than Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah, I'll give you that. I think Nick Aldis could still probably go around or two.
Fuck yeah, he could.
I mean, he hasn't been out of the ring a year. I don't think 2 years tops. You know. So, and to be honest, I'd like to see Nick Aldis go another round.
Yep.
Oh,
And
when I said someone's going to super kick, I was expecting KO to be the one to get super kicked.
yeah,
You
I
know,
agree. But you know what? This is a good pathway to go into what I didn't mention in the beginning of the podcast. Talk about Nick Aldis could still go. So real quick, the situation with Corey Graves. Now you seen that I posted on my page the story about Corey Graves when he first made that post, asking if this was a shoot or if this was kayfabe. Everyone, including myself, thought it was kayfabe. Apparently, that was a real shoot, because they removed him from NXT. He since deleted that post. So, there's been rumors going around that he's going to show up on AEW, which I don't think that's going to happen. He's still under contract. But are you expecting to see Corey Graves back anytime soon?
they took Corey Graves off NXT.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow,
see,
that's
the whole story was he was pissed that he got removed from Raw.
I know.
Yep. And look, let's see.
Yeah,
And he had this to say for those who may not um remember what he said. My fucking phone will open up.
I
Here we
think he'll
go.
be honest, since TNA and WWE have a more open talent relations
Uh,
now.
But this is what he said. Imagine chasing your dream, then being told that you are no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty fucking awesome at it. Um, and then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job, just in case you've wondered where I've been. Now, he went on then to say that he was going to be on NXT that night. He wasn't. And then he went on to delete that post. I don't think that this was something kayfabe. I think that Corey Graves is truly pissed off that Pat McAfee took his spot. Now, this is what's dumb and why I say Corey Graves didn't think about this. Pat McAfee has to leave his duties from time to time because of football, especially during football season. He's gonna be going for a bit, and I'm pretty sure Corey Graves would have filled in. So yeah, I think Corey Graves just didn't think this through. But yeah, he's in some hot water.
Yeah, no, it's hard to say. No, I didn't know he was on. It wasn't on NXT.
Yep.
Um,
And one other thing,
I,
go ahead.
I understand where Corey Graves is coming from, but from a marketing point of view, Pat's got a bigger name. You know, that's all
Right.
there is to it. Now to come in and fill in when Pat's gone for other obligations, whether it's football or his podcast or whatever the case may be, that's still insulting. You know, it might not be if you're in if you're if you're on NXT and you're asked to step up to do both NXT and Raw, well, Pat's a sideline or whatever, but I can understand where Corey Graves comes from. I
He's
really
still
can.
making money though,
And
man.
yeah,
He's still
yeah,
making the
well,
money.
yeah, but if he's still under contract, he's still getting paid regardless if he's sitting on the sidelines or not.
Yeah.
Might not be making as much, but
Right.
you
And
know,
one other thing, and then we'll get back to the recap, is WWE and TNA has joined together. They've signed a contract where they're going to be utilizing, each other's talents and whatever else they may do. That is huge for TNA.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And if AEW keeps going the route they're going, TNA could push them out of second place.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's get through Raw. I mean SmackDown.
All right. So, anyways, Then we go to pretty deadly interview with DIY, and Ciampa pretty much said you're a joke. Everybody's laughing at you. All right, and they said that DIY was afraid of Motor City Machine Guns and whatever. And then Ciampa storms off, and Johnny says, no, he's just saying it because he's hot. We like you guys, whatever. Johnny just kind of smoothing things over. And then Johnny leaves. Apollo
Well,
Creed comes
wait,
out
before
and
you go
says,
there, one thing that Johnny said was that, this can be very lucrative to you pretty deadly, referring to that tag team title, them possibly getting a shot at the tag team. Then he walks off and go ahead.
Apollo Crews comes in and pretty much reiterates, that they're being stupid, don't believe DIY and whatnot. And they kind of just shake their heads and walk away. And then Johnny Gargano comes out and attacks Apollo Crews.
Yeah. Now, I really wish that, speaking of Power Cruz, that they booked him better because the guy's good. He's good on the mic. I don't know what the issue is.
And he's built like a brick shithouse, man. You see the arms on that dude? Holy shit. His arms have gotten bigger over the last year.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then next we go to Bailey to the ring. All right. In the meantime, they run a promo for Charlotte Flair, which I thought was for Tiffany at first, but it was for the return of Charlotte Flair. No, I wouldn't even have done this promo. I would have just had her show up at the Royal Rumble and call it a day. But that's just me. Um, then Tiffany comes to the ring. Well, there was an interview in there somewhere with Tiffany where she was making Tiffany, not history, but Tiffany. Or
No,
Tis,
Tiff,
Tiff,
she was making
Tiff,
Tiffistry.
I don't know.
Tiffistry.
But it was still funny as hell. Um, this kid keeps continually impressing me with her promos, her in-ring ability. Like I said, I have rarely watched a new person where I went, holy shit, this person's got everything. And the first time I saw Tiffany, and she might have been 3 or 6 months into NXT, I don't know. But the first time I saw her, I said, God damn it, this girl's got it. And well, my first response was, God, not another fucking blonde. All right. But then I watched the match and I watched her promo, and her promo was no different than any other blonde at the time, stuck on themselves or whatnot. But then I watched the match and I went, holy shit, this girl's got everything.
Now, I
And they
tell
really,
you, a match I would love to see, and I don't know if they're going to do it or not, but since WWE is partnered with TNA, I would love to see um, Tessa Blanchard against Tiffy.
yeah, I don't think you're going to see Tessa Blanchard on a WWE screen anytime soon. I think they're going to still blackball her for a little bit, but eventually you might. But I think they're going to be extremely cautious with her, and she might have to sign some documentation saying she's not going to do or say a few things. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I think
well,
they're away from her for a little
well,
bit.
I tell you, besides Chelsea Green, of course, there's been a lot of women in the locker room that have said that they would love to have a match with Tessa Blanchard. So,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would prefer to see Charlotte Flair against Tessa Blanchard, or even really Rhea Ripley against Tessa Blanchard. I think would be a great match. But I would also love to see Tiffy against Blanchard as well.
You just want to see Tessa no matter what, so it doesn't matter. It could be a broomstick, a blow up doll. You don't care. You just want to see
No,
Tessa.
no, 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 no. That's not true. I think that I think that if there's quite a few women that if WWE decided to use Tessa Blanchard and put these women against her, I would be disappointed because I don't think it would be a great match. But my top three, because I look, if they're not going to use her properly and put her against someone that is good, then I'd rather not see her do anything at all. But those are my top three that I would like to see Tessa Blanchard have a match with.
Fair enough. I can go Tessa and Rhea, to be honest. But Tessa and Tiffany, yeah. Tessa and Charlotte Flair, definitely. God, that's like Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes all over, you know. Um, or even a dream of Magnum TA and Ric Flair, you know. Right, right. So yeah, I mean, them are you know, and I think Tessa's a little bit younger than Charlotte, and Charlotte's in at the twilight of her careers, I think too. But seeing Charlotte 3, 4 years ago against Tessa, God, that would have been awesome. Would have been awesome. Um, Anyways, Tiffany ends up getting the win. The match wasn't that extraordinary, to be honest. I'm not Bailey. I've never really been a Bailey fan, whether she's hugger or damage control. Her voice to me is like fingers across the chalkboard. Always has been. A hell of a talent. I'm not going to sit there and say different. She's applied hours into her craft. I'm not going to take that away from her. Just not my cup of tea. But I really didn't get into this match like I hoped to.
Yeah. Um, I tell you that Bailey looked really weak in this match. I mean, she did what, three Billy the Baileys on Tiffy, and she kicked out, including one of them that was out of the ring. They spent a lot more time out of the ring than I was even expecting to do. But yeah, Bailey looked pretty weak in my opinion, but Tiffy looked very strong. The only move that Tiffy did that I just was like, come on, was when they said the cartwheel Alabama Slammer. To me, it was like, yeah, she attempted to do the cartwheel into that move, but I wasn't overly impressed with just that one particular move. But other than that, she looked really good. And yeah, and as much as Bailey's supposed to be the face, more of the crowd was cheering for Tiffy.
I'd like to see a backstory on Tiffany. I guess I'd like to understand how she went from gymnastics to wrestling. You know, was she a wrestling fan, or is this, something that somebody saw her at the gym one day and said, hey, because of your background, this would be an easy transition for you. So I guess I'd like to see them do a 2 hour backstory on her on Peacock or whatever.
Yeah, I would, man, I would like to think that she was a wrestling fan and she just didn't get into this for the money. Because the people who are usually really true wrestling fans, the talent, they're the ones that usually do much better in the ring. I mean, Lex Luger didn't like professional wrestling, and then he started it for the money, and he was never that great in the ring.
No, I wasn't.
But real quick, I want to go over just a couple of things with Dynamite that happened. I thought for the most part the show was terrible. The high spots for me was MJF against Jeff Jarrett, are the promos, them two talking to one another. Man, when did wrestling fans become such weak little pussies that get offended over everything? Because people are crying, literally crying about the things that MJF said to Jeff Jarrett. And I'm like, come on. Wrestling fans has just gotten, they frustrate me at times for stupid shit like that. MJF didn't say any, man. Look, if these wrestling fans are offended now, they couldn't have handled the freaking Attitude Era. But I thought the MJF Jeff Jarrett thing was good. I thought that the women's gauntlet match was really good. I didn't like the finish, but for the most part, I thought the match was good. And what I really liked about that is we seen Megan Bain come back to AEW, and man, let me tell you, she looked damn good. She is built so well that she made the what is her name though, that she used to have the alien gimmick.
Starlander.
Yeah, Starlander. She made Starlander look a little small in there. I was really hoping that Megan Bain would win, just because I would like to see another storyline besides the same old shit we've seen with AEW in the women's division. Once again, it's going to be, of course, though, Tony Storm should win a match, so we can see Tony Storm against Mariah May. I'll be honest, even though it's a different character that Tony Storm is doing, it's still going to be a Tony Storm versus Mariah May match. I have no interest in seeing that. I wanted something that we haven't seen, and they had the opportunity to do it, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, the promo with Jeff Jarrett and MGF, brilliant. I thought it was awesome. Thought it was great. And if you can't handle that promo, yeah, you definitely couldn't handle the Attitude Era. I mean,
It
shit,
was
dude.
funny.
Right, right. God, it was great. You know, he called his MGF's mom a call girl. You know, and then MGF turns around and says, "Well, you know, I'm not into milfs, but I do wife." You know, I mean, these guys didn't pull any punches. You know, and if this was off the top, this was beautiful. You know, and this is prime Jeff Jarrett stuff. It really is.
Look, real quick, it was MGF was saying things that were so funny that even I think Jeff Jarrett was legit chuckling when he was leaning against the ropes when some of the things MJF said, because you could literally see him kind of smirking. I don't think that was kayfabe. I think he was literally laughing because it was just that damn funny.
The other thing is Taz is back, and I guess he's back full time because I think Taz came back one show and was out for like 3 or 4 weeks then too.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see.
Now, real quick, the other match, I would say there's a highlight. I think that this was something that I wish it would have happened yet, and it was Hobbs against Ambrose, or not Dean Ambrose, Moxley, right? And I'll tell you why. We knew that Moxley's not going to drop that belt yet. And Hobbs is so good, I believe he deserves to have the belt. So, Hobbs going there and losing, it frustrated me. And it really frustrated me because they decided to protect Christian and Hook, right? To protect them from each of them taking a pin. That was okay. But not protecting Hobbs where his shoulders wouldn't get pinned. They didn't even think about that. Fuck Hook and Christian. One of those should have taken a pin. It should have been a Hook, to be honest with you. And if they was going to do interference, it should have been in the Hobbs boxing match. It would just have made more sense and would have protected Hobbs where that he would have taken his shoulders would have been pinned, and then he would have a true complaint where we could actually possibly have another match with Hobbs and Mox where Mox drops the title to Hobbs because he deserves that title.
I don't know if he deserves it quite yet, but yeah, definitely down in the future, I definitely could see it. As far as Megan Bain, I wrote my notes. Beth Phoenix. She reminded me of Beth Phoenix.
I
That's all.
agree.
All right. And I don't remember Megan Bain before, but when she came out, I was like, "Holy shit, who is this?" So I was
Megan Bain. So Megan Bain, when she did a lot of the matches that used to be on YouTube or whatever it was. But she went to the main roster a couple of times. She was actually a little chunky.
well, whatever she did, she walked out, and I went, "Holy shit, who is this?"
Yeah,
She looked good. Nice ring appearance, nice performance. You know, she looked intimidating. She looked like somebody I wouldn't want to mess with.
yeah,
So, props to her.
yeah. And yeah, I just want to talk about that real quick. Look, and we'll end the podcast with this. AEW needs to get their shit together. I understand that they have all this money coming in, right? But it doesn't mean that they don't look weak as fuck. And the fact that they can't even sell out a 3,000 person venue, the fact that they're having so many problems when they have a a loaded group of men and women who are just damn good in the ring. And Tony Khan isn't using his roster the way he should. They should be a lot further than what they are in professional wrestling. The fact that TNA is legitimately going to threaten their number two spot should be very worrisome to Tony Khan. Um, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, but Tony Khan needs to get out of the fucking way and have real creators with experience in professional wrestling come in and turn AW around.
Um, TNA might threaten him for this number 2 spot only in performance. They won't touch him for financials for a while. Or WWE helping them is going to bankrupt quite a bit. But as far as financials, AEW is going to smoke them for a while longer. All right. Tony Khan needs to give us a call and have us come down and you know pass some ideas around or whatnot. And your Christian Cages, your Jeff Jarrett's. Who are these fuckers? Who are these fuckers? We're the fuckers that have been supporting you for 40 fucking years. That's who we are. All right. Yeah, we're gonna make some mistakes, but you know what? We're gonna give you insight that you guys apparently have forgotten or don't know about.
Yeah, I agree. Look, part of the problem as well is AEW was created because we, the fans, were sick of WWE and the fact that Vince wasn't listening to the fans. And at that point, WWE was starting to turn to shit. We wanted something that was alternative. That happened. And with the group of guys, the originals that started with AEW, they were on fire because we had some damn good matches. But then all of a sudden, Tony Khan starts bringing in WWE guys, which is fine, right? Because, these group of men and women that get let go by WWE, they deserve to have a good place to go. But the mistake that Tony Khan did was he pushed all of the originals to the back and immediately replaced them with these ex WWE wrestlers. What he should have done was kept his originals going and then started the WWE wrestlers off in these smaller matches or these smaller storylines until it made sense for them to be in the front main eventing with some of the AEW originals. But Tony Khan is like he forgot completely about his originals, and it's these WWE people. And it just, he fucked up when he did that because people wanted to watch these new faces that was good, that was putting asses in seats, and Tony Khan fucked it up.
The other thing is, I think they need to learn from WWE and how to cut a promo and develop a story. These guys are going, their storylines are a month long from one pay per view to the next, and it's like, no, sometimes you got to have a slower build.
Right. And then on top of it, they do something to move the storyline or add the storyline on the pay-per-views, but then they don't follow up on their weekly shows. That's been one of our bitches too. It's like you expect shit Wednesdays to be good, nothing.
Yep. Yeah, if they applied half the skill and time and effort that they do with their pay per views to their weekly shows, they'd be fucking awesome. Because their pay per views are almost second to none. You
Right.
know, even when you think you're disappointed, they come back strong in the second half and just blow you away. You
Yeah.
know, take some of that energy and attention to detail or whatever it is, and devote it to your weekly shows. You know, I understand that you want to draw that pay per view to make that extra buck, but you're going to lose sponsors, ratings, and everything else. No, if nobody's watching the weekly show, nobody's going to get the pay per view.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. So if Tony Khan stumbles upon this video because he's drunk or whatnot, give us a call, man, because I assure you we can do a lot better than what the fuck you're doing.
Here are please.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, we'll end the show on that. Again, guys, please subscribe to our channel. Like I said, I'm going to have Josh Turner on Wednesday. I'll be dropping that on Wednesday night. Should be a pretty good interview. Other than that, I have nothing else to really announce. Mark, what you got?
Nothing, brother. Ring the damn bell.
Ring the damn bell. See you guys on Tuesday for the Monday night, or for the recap of Monday Night Raw. You guys have a great rest of your weekend.